Hi everybody, this is Michael H1475. I'm part of the Madden community, the MMC, for modding, and I wanted to kind of go over the Cyberfaces for Madden 26 and what you need. Basically, the very similar tutorial as 25. There's just a couple changes. First, you're going to need the Blender 2 file, which is here, and this has your Madden base, which you're going to need the eye if you want to add the eye to the texture. Also has a placeholder if you want to trace over the image. I usually don't use it, but you can use it. This folder is needed to do the sculpting, and this was actually by Didoni. He's the one that came up with this, so I'm pretty much using that. He makes the whole process easier based on this. You're also going to need a picture of what you're going to be using, who you're going to use for the Cyberface. It has to be a PNG file. You also need the AI to create the texture. You're going to need a texture file, which are going to be basically just click on one here. We'll click on Brett Farr. This is a texture file. You're going to need that. And you can get them off Frosty. If you go to Frosty here, you can click on basically the characters. Let me just do content characters. You go to player, you click on players, and then you can pick any of these players here, for example. And like, for example, Jaden Daniels, if you want to use his texture, you can export, and you export it as a PNG. And you could save it to wherever you want and then use that for the AI. So basically, we're going to get right into the video here. So let's start. I'm going to minimize the screen, close out this. I use Chrome. You can use whatever browser you'd like. So, for example, we have RJ Harvey. So I'm going to use him as a sample. I already got his picture downloaded. So we're going to go and start the AI process. So you want to go to a AI Face Enhancer website to do the tool. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. You just put your Google account in there and you'll get as many faces as you want. Unlimited, basically. You can enhance and do all sorts of cool things with this program. Let's click on it. So if you just take a notice at the top here, AI Face Swap.io, this is the where you want to go. That is what you need to access the picture. First thing you want to do is go to Face Swap. That's where you want to get the texture file created for your image. So for example, we're going to go here and click to upload. That's the first thing you want to do, and you want to do the texture file for this. All right, so I'm going to go to texture file, and I'm going to go into my folder, which is Boomer Merino, because that's where I keep all my texture files. And I'm going to find out what I want. And I would get something that looks very similar to them, facial hair and so forth. I think there was kind of a little bit of facial hair, but these are all my thumbnails, all my textures. You could get these from Frosty. You can export them into a folder so you can have a lot of different generics. You can also use real players as well, whatever you'd like to do. So, for example, I'm going to pick the 6HN001 color. I think it's very close to RJ Henry's color, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and that's going to be your first image. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on his picture, which I have in downloads, and there he is, RJ Harvey 2. So I have it saved as RJ Harvey 2, and so I'm going to click on that. And there you go. So now you have both faces. And then you start swapping. And depending on how the image looks, if it's to your liking, you can download it and rename it. Or you can enhance it as well. I'll show you the enhancing option because I think it gives you better facial. But you're going to have to resize the image when you get into paint.net. And I recommend you downloading that. So let's go ahead and start swapping the face here. So see, it wants me to sign in. So I'll go ahead and sign in. And then it gives me 20 more points, so I have 150 credits. You don't ever have to buy them. I mean, unless you're just making hundreds and hundreds of Cyberfaces a day. So that prompted me to do that. So now I'm going to go ahead and start the face swapping. And right now we're at 15%. We're going up to 50, and then once it hits 100, if you are content with the image, you can utilize it. Now, if you would like to enhance the image, now it would make the file go from a pixel resolution of 1024 to 2048. So from 1024 to 2048. You would have to make sure when you're in paint.net to resize your image so you can erase the eyes. So we're going to go ahead and enhance it. So I'm going to go and I want to enhance his image. just to show you so you can kind of get a feel. And so when you do that, you upload. It's 2 points, it's 2 credits. It's not going to cost much. You'll see his image here. And then what I do is I go like probably about 61, 64, something like that. It doesn't take it all the way to the original. Give it a little bit more smoother surface and everything else, the smoother image. So then you go ahead and click on that and start it. And then it'll generate for you. Okay, there he is. And he looks pretty good. A pretty clear picture of him. And then at this point, what you want to do is you want to download it. Okay. And then once you download it, you click on it. I use photos, regular photos for this. All you're doing at this point is naming it. And you could save it wherever you want to access it. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. Let's see, save option, save as copy. And then I'm going to rename it RJ Harvey. Color. You can do whatever you want to name it. I like to do it like this. And I save it to my picture files. And you can save it to whatever folder. If you want to create a folder for your textures and just save them there, you can. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now it's saved, so I'm going to exit out of that program. Now we'll also exit out of here. Let's see here. For now, we don't need that. Now we're going to go into paint.net. That's going to be the next step. Okay, so then we're going to go to paint.net. Okay, I already got one person I did today, so I'm going to open this up a little bit so it's easier for you to see. And then what I'm going to do is obviously take the file that I used for the texture, because you need the texture file first. Okay, so I'm going to go to Boomer and Merino again. Look at the thumbnails. Well, I'm going to put 6 in there because that's the generic face that I used. And then you should see your thumbnail. And there he is right here. That's the one I used earlier. So highlight on that. Click on that, and there he is. But we did enhance the image. As you do, then what you need to do is resize this so it coordinates with your image, because it's a 2048 format for the width and the height. So you just type in 2048. Now, like I said, if you don't want to enhance it, just leave it alone. Don't do any enhancing. You don't have to. Regular is just 1024. It's no problem. It'll still look fine if you do it either way. You get a little bit more enhanced image when you're looking at your player and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do that then. So I'm going to hit OK. Now he's resized to the proper resolution that we need. So now what we need to do is go into layers to import where your face is. So we're going to import it. And I have mine in pictures. So I'm going to go to pictures and look for him. And there he is, RJ Harvey 2, right at the top there. I click on him. Now look at him. See? Perfect. You look at the resolution, how crisp that picture is, how crisp the image is. So what we need to do, and what I do, is you always have to erase the eyes or it doesn't work properly in Blender. And like I showed you, the placement is what you need in Blender to be able to utilize your model. So I'm going to do the eraser here. And you can zoom in, and you just have to do basically the white area here, the pupil area, the whole eye, and just kind of, you're basically just erasing the eye. So when you go into Blender, you can actually utilize the image here. Okay, I don't really touch anything else. It's because I want it to look pretty decent, you know. So anyway, so at this point, I'm going to save it. Save as, and you don't want to have it a paint.net file. You want to have it a PNG. Rename it. So I'm going to call it RJ Harvey Color 5. I don't know. I'm just picking anything. It doesn't matter really. And it's going to save it to Boomer and Merino, so this is important. So we're going to go into that. And then you just go ahead and save it again and flatten it. Okay. So I went ahead and flattened it. All right. So now the next step is going to go into Blender. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize the screen. And now we're going to go into Blender 4.4. We're going to open that up. And there we go. This is the last one I did. I believe this was Will Johnson. So he was the last one I did. So what you're going to do is you're going to open the Blender file that you're going to use for the placeholder. That's what you want to use. It's gonna say, and I'm going to show you here. I have it as in my recents, but you can open it up. The Madden 25 Sculpt Base.blend. That's part of that folder that I was telling you about. That's what you're going to need when you open it. You could do it under open. You don't have to do it under open recent. That does save all your recent ones. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Okay. Let's see here. Let me go. Why didn't it work? Okay. So now I clicked on it. Now there we go. So now you have the placeholder that is part of the process to make the image, make the sculpting a lot easier for you. The first thing you want to do, you notice the eyes are highlighted. Okay, so once the image is there, make sure, oh, what did I do here? I clicked it, select, there we go. You select on the eyes, and then you want to put your eyeball in there, and that's part of the placeholder, the eyeball that you see in there. I made a couple of different ones. I mean, you can make other colors if you'd like. It doesn't really impact the actual file. It doesn't show up in Madden. It'll only show up what's actually in Frosty. What they have is the actual the color. But I like to see what the image would look like based on their eye color, just to kind of get a good view of it. Once you get the eyes set, then you click on the outer layer, and you can see here this is selected. That's the next part. Then what you want to do is you want to go into where you saved your texture, because that's the next step, and that's what you need. So there is, I had it under Boomer and Merino, and usually does the latest. If not, just do date modified up here and get the latest. I'm clicking on RJ Harvey right now. So now there he is. Okay, he's not done. It's just the texture over. So now at this point, you want to do is sculpt him. But first, you're going to have to add the picture that you want to use. I put it next to him because it makes it easier, because I eyeball it when I sculpt him. So I'm going to go to add, and then image, and then background. So then at this point, what I'm going to do is pick the image, and he's under downloads. So I'm going to go to downloads, and then there is Harvey 2. So I'm going to select that, and then you can zoom out with your mouse, and there's his image. Okay, so then what you do at that point, you go ahead and minimize them. You go up here. Oop, my mouse is not working right here. Okay. Then you want to kind of get it kind of close to the image as possible, because you're eyeballing it really. This is how I do it. You can use the placeholder and copy over there's some steps that I don't have. I'm not covering that in this tutorial. This is the tutorial that I cover, because it's a lot easier to do it this way. It's quicker. You can produce a lot more faces. So that's what you want to do. So for example, so now at this point, what we're going to do then is we're going to click and highlight your player. And once you highlight them, then you want to go to the left here, object mode, and you want to go into edit, actually not edit mode, you want to go into sculpt mode. Now you have it on draw. Draw is not going to work. You're going to need the grabbing tool. So you're going to go to draw, select draw, and then go to grab 2D. Now you're going to be able to edit him. And I like to try to get the eyes and everything pretty close to the exact way that he has it. It's not going to be perfect science, but it'll be pretty close. So then at this point, I like to edit. When you go up to the spears here, I go to the next one over, because it shows this is what the Madden image is going to look like. Very close to this. So you're going to have to like edit the eyes and try to make it as close to the possible. And you just use your mouse and you click on the left clicker, and you just edit the eye, get it as much close as you can. You can zoom in if you want to do the lips a little bit, the lids a little bit, the lids, and then just kind of come down there. And then you kind of compare it, you eyeball it and see if you want to push that up a little bit, and then this down. You kind of get that image there. Maybe it's a little too much, but you can kind of play around with it and get the eye to kind of like where you want. And then you just kind of do that with the image, and get it as close to the picture as possible. And I think you can do it. I think it's a lot easier than tracing it. Everybody has a preference. So if you want to trace it, there's other videos out there for that. And then now I'm going to do his nose. As you can see, the shape of his nose. So at this point, you want to grab the sides of the nose and sculpt it. And I'm going to go over more here and then do the same with the other side. And you can, if you want to like kind of, bring it out more, like how the picture is, you can. You try to get it as close as possible to the image. Sometimes it's not easy. You might not get it perfect, but as long as you get it close, that's all that matters. Because in game, it's going to show the nose, but it's not going to be perfect on it. So it'll give you the outer layer. So, and you notice the bridge is a little wider, so you just go to the bridge and then you just widen the bridge a little bit here and kind of make it wider, so everything will be a little wider for you. Okay, so basically I'm getting it to where I want it. Maybe a little bit here, a little bit here, like kind of. You try to get as perfect as you can. It's not going to always be perfect, but to make the nostril a little bigger, maybe come down a little bit on that one. Down a little, okay. Not perfect, but it's close. I mean, it's as close as you're probably going to get it to the image here. I mean, you can work around it however you want. If you're really anal about it, then you can have it however you want, you know, but this is how I'm going to have the nose. Now, you can do the mouth as well. His lips are pretty good. I mean, if you want to go a little bit wider, we can, like, or just grab the edge of the mouth and just kind of do that. And there you go. And then you can also do the sides of the face. You see how his face is a little bit, his cheeks are more defined here on the side here. You want to add, maybe go a little bit further out on them. So you just kind of take your mouse and drag it so you can kind of have it. And just try to get it as close to that as you possibly can. I mean, his facial hair is not well defined, and from the texture, which is fine. I mean, you can honestly, when you get into Frosty, you can edit hair files, and then you can, if you want, with Blender. I'm not real skilled at that. I usually just export some hair and then import it into my image. And the same, you know, I can make his head a little bit wider here because he's going to have hair. So at this point, maybe he's just a little bit, I don't know. Don't want it to be too much here. But once you get to the point where you really like the image, I think I'm going to bring the chin down a little bit more. You know, once you get to where you like it, maybe the nose here is a little, okay. It's not perfect, but like I said, it's you know, when you look at it from the other spear, it'll look a little bit better there, so you can see the difference and kind of like mess with it a little bit more. I don't know if I like that. I messed it up a little bit, but anyway. So anyway, it's about like that. It's not going to be exactly the way it is in Madden. It's going to be totally different anyway. But this is kind of the face. This is what what's going to look like, so the image. So at this point, I feel that we're pretty good. I got a lot done here as far as what I wanted to do. So at this point, you want to go back to the grab to and go to object mode. And at this point, you don't need the picture anymore. So you highlight the picture and hit delete. Well, maybe I got to save it first. So I will save as, and I'm going to call it RJ Harvey 2. Just for whatever. So now it's saved. Now I should be able to delete it. There, now it's gone. Now what you got to do is so the difference between Madden 25 and Madden 26 is you have to click on this. And then you see these LODs here. Madden 25, you don't need to delete these out. You can keep them the way they are. That'll work for 25, but 26, it does not work. These will not work. You cannot use the same image blend from 25 to 26. You can't. It won't work. So you have to delete these LODs. So what you're going to have to do, you can leave everything alone with the eyelashes. So what you're going to do is click on the first LOD 0. You're going to go to where the mat is, right before the mat, and delete this out until you get to the eyes. So you do the first one, and you just keep going down them until they're all complete. And you just leave the one little space there with and it'll automatically just, when you do it, it'll just bring to the next one to the top. And you just keep doing it until all of them are completely done. This is how you're going to do it. All right, so then, same thing with the next one. We're doing that. All right, we're doing the head as well. And you just keep doing them all until they're all completely done. And, well, what happened there? I might have done too much. It's all right. I can just type it in there. There's that. So I didn't get them all here. So that's that one. And then do the same, just delete them out. There's that. Got one more left. Just want to make sure every one of those LODs are out of there. As you can see, now I have everything all completely done. All of them there. You need to highlight all of these. And then once you open these up with the eyes, you open up all the eyes here, and then what you're going to do is highlight them with the control. And you click on them and highlight the first three heads, okay? Once you highlight all them, then you want to go in here and you just take the mouse, let go of the mouse, hit Control L, and it's going to bring up these options, and you want link object data. So you go ahead and do that, and then do that with the eyes as well. You're doing the same thing. Highlight all three. Click on, go there, link, and then you're done. Now at this point, you want to go ahead and click on and highlight every single one. All right, so there you go. So you pretty much have everything highlighted, and now you want to go to export. You go to FBX. So what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to go ahead and save your operator presets and create one, because you're going to want to have it set up exactly the way I have it. So I'm going to go in here and select down. I have mine as Madden 25. So when you see this, you're going to need selected objects highlighted, empty, highlight, and it tells you what to do. Shift and click and drag. You don't want camera and lamp highlighted. You want all these highlighted. Custom properties. Then you're going to change the scale to 0.01. Then you're going to have apply unit, use space, transform, apply. You're going to do that. You're going to click on all those. Then the geometry, just apply the modifiers, and the tangent space is all you need. Okay, then the armature, you just make sure only deformed bones and add leaf bones are highlighted. And animation, all those need to be pretty much as you see it here. Have all those settings saved. You have to have them saved and have it exactly as you see it here, because if you don't, the export will not work. Okay, so you got to make sure, like I said, look at all these presets that I have here in the recording, and just kind of go slowly and make sure you have everything checked off that's according to this. And once you have it done, then you go ahead and export. We have the FBX file. We go ahead and export it. Okay, so we are completely done with this part of the segment. So we're going to go into Frosty Editor now. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that because we already have it open. So once you open up Frosty, now you're going to, for example, we're going to use Jaden Daniels. So this is the thing you can do. Okay, there is a separate tutorial that has made for duplicating faces, which I will not get into that because I think this will be easier just to show you how to do a face first. Then once you get it down, then I would you can start duplicating faces. I don't want to confuse you. I just want to simply show you how to import the images in and out of Frosty. So first, we're just going to select them. Okay. Once you click on them, how you get to this is, again, you go to content up here. You go to content, then you go to player. Then you go to players, and then you go into the player you want, which we're going to select, which we had Jaden Daniels. Where was he? There he is, right here, Jaden Daniels. Okay, so now everything comes up. So you're going to need to file this closely in order to get everything to work. Okay, so here's the thing. You want to start off with the mesh. You want to start off with the mesh because that's very important. And the hair and stuff like that, we'll talk about that as well. So you can either leave the hair alone or you can import and export hair. So for example, I'm just going to go ahead and show you just to leave the hair alone, just to show you that we're going to create the image. But I'm going to show you also steps on what you need to do, how to do it, so you can get different hair options. So we're going to go into the mesh. Okay, so I'm going to look for it, mesh. Click on it. This is for Madden 26. Madden 25 set up a little differently. Once you load the mesh, you're going to have compute graph, and then you're going to have the compute deformer. Okay, compute graph is in 25, and you would clear it out. and you would, like I said, you would not touch the LODs like we did. You would leave them alone. In 26, you have to delete the LODs, and then you got to go ahead and clear the assigned deformer, or your image will not work. It will not show up good in the game. So then what you do from this point is you go to import. And there he is. I have it Blender base file. That's where I put everything in Blender base file. Basically the Blender folder that I have. And you guys can DM me that and I'll send it to you if you want it. And if you want to start doing it. And I'll send you the folder. So then you go to RJ Harvey 2. You click on him. And what you want to do, because this is one thing I did not share, is you want to click the character Sculpting. It'll give you the option on what to do. So at this point, what you want to do, you click on it. Okay, I'm just clicking on it to show you. And you find the character Sculpting. Content, character, rig, Sculpting. This is prop. Maybe it's under content shared. I can't remember. But it's under characters, I believe, or content somewhere. There's characters. Okay, so just as you see, I'm playing with it, trying to find the right one. And you're looking for the player. No, not the player. The character. There it is, the character. You want character Sculpting. Make sure you're selecting character Sculpting. So go ahead and you click on that and you import that. And once you import that, there he is. There's your image right there. Everything that you just created is showing up there. All right. And at this point, the other things you can edit. You can go to the hair, so that you have the hair cap mesh. Okay, once you click on that, and it's sometimes a little funny, it doesn't show up. But this is where you import and export. So if I wanted to change Jaden Daniels' hair color, or I'm sorry, your image's hair color, you got to do the hair cap first. So you go to import, and I selected another folder. I'm just showing you what I would do. And then you have your hair mesh and hair caps. Export them the same. Don't change them much. Just have what you want. Know what person you're using so you know their hair. And then you just go ahead and click on the file, and just like you did with the mesh, you import it. Okay, I'm just going to show you. So basically you just import it in, and I'm not going to show you how to really do that because you can just click on the hair cap mesh for hair cap mesh. Okay, and then the same thing with, you just go with the little dude there in the left corner, and that's who you highlight. Hair mesh, same thing. Hair mesh, there it is. So it shows. If you don't like it, choose a different one. There's many players that you can use. A good way to do it is open up franchise tool, look at some pictures and see what hairstyles that some of the players have. Anybody that has a full character in the game, you can just import or export. Basically, you would just go to export the image. I'll show you. Export it, use the character Sculpting, export, save it as an FBX, and put it in the file you want. Then if you want to put it on your player, then you go to import the same way. You find that file that you just exported and you import it. And you do that for all of them. You want to change all of them. You want to change the hair cap mesh. You want to change the hair mesh, the hair color, the hair CFE. These are PNG files. They're not FBX, so they're very easy to change. And again, you can do the same thing. You can import, export right out. You want to change those if you want to change the hair and all that. And then the other important thing, I'm leaving everything the same just to show you. So the next thing you want to do is you want to go to Jaden Daniels color, because you want to, obviously you just imported the mesh, so now you want to change the texture. And so in order to do that, we got to go in where we have it. So I have it under Boomer and Merino. There he is, RJ Harvey 5, and boom. Once that goes, it takes a few seconds. And at this point, we want to save it and call it whatever we want. We're calling it RJ Harvey Face. And you could create portraits and save portraits as well. If they don't have a portrait, say you're just doing some other random player from maybe next year's draft and you don't have him in game, you want to create him, just find his picture, use the photo editor and delete the background, and just make sure you save the PNG file 512 by 512. Okay, and how you can do that, I'm going to tell you where you can do that if you want to. So we got Jaden Daniels. I'm just going to type his name in here, Daniel, so you can see where the portraits are. So you can edit the portrait if you would like. Okay, because we already got everything done that we need to now. So you see the UI here. This is where the portraits are stored under Image Asset Libraries. Go to Global, Portraits, player portraits, assets, and if you want to change Dayton Daniels, you can. Obviously, I probably wouldn't because you want to keep him in your game, but I'm just saying if you wanted to, there's his portrait. You see it's 512 by 512. Options of importing the portrait is 512 by 512 in a PNG or DDS, and that's how you do it. Okay, and I think I might have Harvey's image in there, but I'm not going to really mess with it because we already have RJ Harvey's portrait in there, but you would pick the file and just open it, and as long as it's the same, it's 5 by 12, 5 by 12, it'll work, and then you save it and export, and your ID for franchise editor or my franchise will be this number under asset ID on the right. This is your number that you use to choose the portrait. And what you do into franchise editor in order for the Jayden Daniels to work as RJ Harvey is then you put you do it exactly the way capital D, capital J, 14579. So at this point, we are going to go find RJ. We're going to go into franchise editor. Okay. You would do the same with my franchise. This is just showing you the steps. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my save file, click on that, open the table editor, then I'm going to go up into this box here, type in player, then click on player. Okay, now this gives you a bunch of different things that you're probably not going to need to change. You're basically going to change only the asset, okay? But you can do other things in this just like you with my franchise. There's a lot of things you can change from the generic face to the body type and everything else. This shows you the player asset and the last name and the first name. Should be in alphabetical order. We're going to look for Harvey. Where are you? There he is, RJ Harvey. There he is. And you have his name. Everything's here. You can go down. It tells you, like, pretty much everything that would be in my franchise would be on the whole right side there. It's just a little bit more of a table to use instead of the easier process with MFT. Once they get that built, it'll be easier for you to do all this. It's a lot easier, trust me. It's a little more complicated in this system, but it still works. So I'm going to delete it out. And we got to copy, like I said, we got to go back to Frosty Editor. And we got to put Daniels Jayden in there. And I do it slowly so I don't want to misspell it. Because if you misspell it or do anything and that's not correct, it won't show up. So, Daniels Jayden. So, I'm going to go back into Franchise Editor. Daniels. And I forget how to spell Jayden. Sorry, guys. Jayden. So we go Jayden. Do the underscore. It has to be exact, guys. Has to be exact. You want it to look like everybody else there. And then it's 14579. 14579. And that takes care of him. So he's now in there. Now you want to go ahead and save. Okay. Once it's saved, you can close out. And now we're going to load and import the mod or export the mod into, so you have the mod so you can put it into in the mod manager. So at this point, we saved it. We're going to go ahead and export. And I'm going to go ahead and call this RJ Harvey Face. And there we go. And you can put your name or whatever, abbreviations or whatever, however you want to do it. And then you go ahead and copy, paste, and then save. And then it's going to ask you to save it. And you have a place. I put it in Mean Machine 2 is where it goes. And then I have the RJ Face, so I save it. Now that's done. Minimize that screen. Now we want to go into Mod Manager. Now we're going to fire it up and see how it looks in game. This is how you tweak it, guys. This is how you tweak it. See if you like the hair, everything. See how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't crash, because that can happen too for some reason. Sometimes it crashes. I hope it doesn't on this tutorial. We'll see. But I have all my other mods that I've done here. And then once you do all that, you have it loaded. You go to delete and mod data, of course. However, you launch your Madden. It'll take a few moments. Of course, you know how if you guys are modding, you know it takes some time, and hopefully I don't have any errors. Okay, good. Everything's good. It's loading right. So that's good. And hopefully we don't have any problems. No crashes or anything. So once we get to that, and I know I'm kind of doing everything live here, so it's taking a little time. This video is a little long, but it'll give you the proper the proper things you need to create faces. Again, it's going to be trial and error, guys. It's not going to be perfect. You might not get a perfect one on the first one, and even I make some that are just still, even to this day, I've made hundreds of faces. They're not always going to be perfect. It all really depends on that texture. When you import that texture onto your skeleton, it makes a big difference on how a face will look in game. If you have a good texture, the face is going to look pretty decent, depending on how the texture comes out. So it's very important when you guys do your texture that you, tutorial that I showed you on the AI swap, you can pick and see and choose
It's in the game.
leave it alone, you can, depending on how you like it. Because that's really going to show up in game that way. Alright. So, we're going to go into